Not that many of you who watch my videos really need to hear this or have it reiterated for the umpteenth time, but I always keep aware that there are a lot of people that will see this video who don't understand, who don't know the history of things properly. They've been indoctrinated by the religious zealots in the public schools, in their family, their friends, their neighbors, those who keep propagating the central planning narrative. But it's about time to burst that bubble, and study after study after study continuously proves the fruitless and counterproductive endeavors of using central planning, forced coercion, and governments, the redistribution of wealth, as a means to eliminate poverty. We're seeing it now all the time. Every report that I have ever seen says the same thing. That yes, central planning and governments cannot create prosperity or wealth for everyone. No matter how much you steal from the productive or the wealthy people in society, even if you throw that at the poor people in society, you're not truly helping them. And it all goes back to that very, very simple, very easy to understand phrase of you can teach a man, or you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach a man to fish, which will allow him to be able to feed himself for the rest of his life. Ontario's soaring poverty gap, starkest for single adults as welfare rates stagnate. Ontario's poverty gap for single adults on welfare has skyrocketed by 200% over past 20 years, according to an analysis by Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. I'll read a small portion of it. Tracy Mead left and Pauline Bryant have been living on social assistance after losing well-paying jobs. Someone else decides what and if I eat, says Mead. The worst thing is not knowing when and if anyone is ever going to change. Anything is ever going to change, says Bryant. But that's the thing. I mean, I'm all for this whole article, I'm probably not going to have to read too much into it, because in reality, the whole premise, the whole headline is what I'm really trying to talk about here is, when you're down and out and some really massively unknown and profound circumstances come your way that you have no control over, people like myself, I think the overwhelming majority of people in any geographical area would say, yeah, those people, when they're having hard times and they're unforeseen circumstances or things that were outside of your control, yeah, it's good to have morally compassionate people that are willing to step up and help you in your times of need. And I'm all for that. Completely all for it. But only if that happens voluntarily. As we're seeing, though, with government initiatives, ones that are forced, imposed on people, where you're told they don't use it. You'll never see the gun present. But as we know, everything that government does is always backed by the use of force and coercion. So when people try to use that force and coercion as a means to an end, that should be the very first light bulb moment where you think, oh, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. You can't force people to be moral. You can't force people to be compassionate. You can't force people to be giving. And actually, the more you try to force people, it's an inherent human beings, I guess, right in the core of our psyche, for most of us, I guess, that if you try to force or impose something on us, we'll reject it outright just because it's a self-defense mechanism. So force doesn't properly work as far as creating a better society or an atmosphere for for populations of any geographical landmass. It may have short-term benefits because, obviously, just same with like if a thief walks up to me tomorrow, I just got my paycheck and I got, whatever, a couple thousand, whatever money in my pocket. If a thief steals from me, yes, they are going to benefit. And no one can deny the fact that they have benefited from stealing from me. But was there anything good that came about or as a result of that? I mean, you could try to pick away and say that, if the person used that proceeds of theft for something to benefit their life, you might be able to try to twist and distort that narrative and say, well, yeah, there was something that good came about of it. But in reality, that tiny sliver of good is outweighed by the fact that the person that was stolen from, think about the negative consequences and ramifications that happens in their life. Or the immoral, just the simple immoral act of stealing rather than asking for voluntary contributions to your cause or to come to your aid. See, that's the macro aspect of it all. Philosophically, economically, and socially is short-term plans and methods that'll help you in the here and now. Yes. The cause and effect may prove to be beneficial to you in the immediate term. But look at the long-term consequences. Look at the big picture. Look at what it does. We're all living in the reality, the consequence of that, of using force and mysticism, right? We're seeing now how devastating that truly is. You're not helping the poor people by not teaching them to be self-sufficient and self-reliant and having self-esteem and provide and taking on the initiative of providing for themselves when they have the potential to do so. You're not helping anyone by, you actually only create a dependent, whether in your family or whether in society. If you just keep handing money over to people, you just create an independent. You're not helping them. And you know that, whether it's in your family or in the social aspect of it. Most people recognize and realize that, yes, you are not helping anyone by just giving them money to go away and shut the fuck up and get out of your face so that you don't have to feel guilt for their consequences or their situation, right? The culmination of all that mentality, that bullshit narrative, it's omnipresent and all around us. We see it on a daily basis. Those who are paying attention anyways. The only way you can truly help people is properly educate and inform them, give them proper morals, philosophical principles, and the self-esteem to recognize and realize that they are ultimately the ones that are in charge and in control of their situation. Many of them may lack the necessities, the tools, the intellect to be wealthy or rich, but most of us at least possess the tools, otherwise humanity wouldn't exist. We all at least possess the tools necessary to provide for ourselves or to have the compassion of those that do care for us to help us in situations where we can't. If you try to force someone to help you, they may do it while you're holding a gun to the head. But have you really benefited yourself properly? The minute let's say you run out of ammo, or you lose your gun, or you lose that power, or that force, or that influence, are they going to help you then? No, because they'll realize that, I'm no longer under the duress, under the stress of having to do it for you. So they won't do it then. It's only when people feel compassionate and empathetic towards you, they will continue to help you without any use of force or coercion because they care for you, because they have empathy for you. Asking for voluntary contributions is the proper way to get help. Not using the power of government, central planning, and mysticism as a means to an end. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.